Good morning. Moore Road here. I've been away from my camp for 11 days. And I'm coming in to not only check on it, but to kind of break everything down and take it. Now, leaving your tent for any length of time is kind of risky. And I don't have a whole lot of woods here to hide this tent in. So, there it is. Look at that. It survived this weather. I've been gone. I've been in town in 11 days. Boy, do I thank the Lord for how good God has been to me. Look at this, huh? But yeah, everybody who is following my journey, I met somebody who owns several houses, him and his mother and father, and they seem to be very, very kind-hearted people. I just so happened to run into them, or this man, the son, just by chance, if you will, which I believe is divine intervention. I always attribute something like that to divine intervention and not just chance, but call it what you will. He actually, out of the kindness of his heart, because of last week's weather, said that I'm just going to put you in one of my empty apartments. And that's what he did, and I have been there ever since. Now, my sister, who has been wanting me to get into an apartment for a long time, has been in contact with him, and it looks like my sister and I are going to kind of pull our resources together, and keep me there for the rest of the month, and we're going to get me in, it looks like, at least next month, and we will go from there on a month-to-month basis. Okay, so I come here, which is like 3 miles away from the apartment, to break down my tent and put it on my cart, and I wasn't going to be sure if it was even here, and I had faith that it would, but you can never make calculations for God, right? I just really did not want to inconvenience anybody or cause anybody any panic, because the wrong person comes into on some property and they see like a camp and so forth, and that can cause somebody to panic, and that can turn into an ugly situation pretty quick, and it would be a situation that I and my homeless lifestyle caused. So even though I wouldn't agree with the conclusion of panicking, I still can't blame anybody. So my biggest concern was for somebody else rather than just myself, losing a tent and losing a cart and losing a few things. I took my big backpack, my big bedroll into town when I left this. The reason I went into town in the first place was because my bedroll was just getting too moist, to continue sleeping in under the weather conditions, because it was so cold. It was down like to single digits and stuff, or even below zero with wind chill in the tent, and my breath was condensating inside the tent, and it was making my sleeping bag, really kind of moist, so it was ruining the temperature rating, so I wasn't able to stay warm like I was when it was totally dry. So I said, I got to roll this sucker up and get into town, and that's a 3-mile walk, and I had to go to the laundromat so I can just put some quarters in the dryer and get the thing dried, and that's what I did. After I left the laundromat, I walked around all day, and I did put a sign on the back of my pack. It said, acts of kindness appreciated, and people were kind and cool and stopped and helped me with some money, and then I spent a night in an abandoned garage that I have used before, and it has like a couch in it that's just been there for years. And so anyways, when I woke up the next day, then we started getting all this crazy snow. And then I had to decide what I was going to do, and I definitely knew I didn't want to come all the way back here. I wanted to just tough it out in town and stealth camp for as long as I had to, until, there's a break in the weather and I can kind of like wrap my mind around coming back here and sleeping out in the woods more. under the weather conditions, you know, it was starting to drain me emotionally and physically. So I stayed in town, but the next day after waking up from that abandoned garage, I walked into town and I was wanting to go to the library. The library was closed because of the weather. I wanted to go to the gym after that, figure I'd get a day pass. The people at this particular gym, it's more of a mom and pop kind of thing. And they knew me and know me, and I just haven't been there in a long time. I was just going to show up and say, hey, did I get a day pass? I would have paid $5 and I would have stayed and hung around the gym most of the day. But they weren't there either. Right next to the gym, though, there was a guy who was shoveling the snow and in front of a house, and he waved me over, and we got to talking. And once I broke the ice with him and he started to trust my character, then he calculated, you know what, this guy, I'm going to help him out and put him in, you know, one of my empty apartments in one of my houses. And it was just a couple of blocks away. So I walked over and met him there, and I've been in that place ever since. And I've been procrastinating coming all the way out here to get my tent, and there has been some concern, is anybody found this yet, because it's been in here for like 11 days. So that's enough time for somebody to come along and, you know, find it. And here I am 11 days later. I finally got the strength and a break in the weather. Here we are in a January thaw, as you can see, to come back here. And, you know, I was kind of like saying, I got a feeling everything's going to be okay. So far, my track record is 100%. Baruch Hashem. And, yeah, I walked into the woods, and here I am. So I'm really happy about this. Now I'm going to, after I shut off the phone, the camera, I'm going to break everything down, roll everything up, and then pack everything up in the cart that I have stashed over yonder. And then I'm going to take the cart out of the woods. My cart's like over there somewhere. It doesn't look like it's showing up. I got good camouflage because I got a silver tarp over it, which is the color of the snow. But yeah, man, this is excellent. And I'll tell you, you want to know one of the reasons why this works out like this, when very rarely does it work out? This isn't just by chance that I don't have my stuff, you know, discovered when I've been gone for 11 days, and this kind of thing happens all the time, and I'm finding all these spots, and everything's always good, and this is year after year after year for years, for decades. A lot of it has to do, it all has to do, frankly, with prayer. And I think perhaps in the next video I might actually film it at my little apartment that I'm staying at. So far, there's nothing been made official. I haven't signed anything. I haven't given them any money or anything like that. But my sister is probably going to work with them on that. And we're going to get that together sometime soon, or after the 1st or something like that. But I'm going to probably upload a video from my apartment next. And you know, at least you're kind of going to be, my viewers are going to be up to date on what's been going on, and why am I not in the woods, and why am I in an apartment, you know. So I want to explain that, and I want to share like this moment of 11 days absence from my tent and my cart in the woods where I left it, and everything is just amazing. And we had a lot of snow and a lot of ice. That tent could easily be crushed. There was snow, ice, wind. It was pretty bad weather for a while, which is one of the reasons why I was just like, there ain't no way I'm leaving this apartment, you know. And there could be mice, there could be some kind of an animal. And nothing, everything's great. But I'm glad I wasn't here this whole time. I really needed the rest. Once I got into that apartment, I really fully experienced how tired I actually have been, and I just didn't realize I was that tired because I was on survival mode. When you're on survival mode, it's like you got adrenaline, so you're not feeling how tired your muscles are, and you know how fatigued you are emotionally. And then when you get into like an apartment or something like that, then you kind of go, oh, you know, the adrenaline goes away and you're not on survival mode. And then you seriously begin to feel exactly, you know, the reality of how tired you have been. I mean, the last time I had any place to stay was last winter. For like 4 months, I stayed in somebody's RV who knows me. It was available last winter, and he let me stay there. So I had a place to kind of bed down for a while, but I left in April, so you're talking like 9.5 months of just straight ahead hardcore living on the road, and not to mention a lot of working out of the gyms and stuff. So, and I have a lot to juggle, you know, because there's legal issues, you know, when you're talking about camping like this on who knows whose property this is, there's legal issues. Why do you think? See those blinds that I make? Why do you think I put those things up? In case somebody comes on the property, there's at least a chance that they will miss the tent. You know, this is serious business. You know, there's always a risk of getting into legal trouble. And that's why I am a man of prayer. So, I definitely have a few things to share about prayer. And maybe I'll have the merit to share some of that on a video, perhaps from my apartment. All right, from Stealth Camp, 11 days absence, still here. Baruch Hashem. May God be glorified. Amen.